Okay, so you know how there's like a driver's license exam you take and you do like the road test and the written test, and you at least have some basic tests before you are allowed to drive a car? I wish there was something like that for RV parks. Something that tested people on the unwritten rules of RV parks you need to know. Now, knowing these rules isn't going to automatically mean someone's going to follow all of them, just like getting licensed doesn't mean that people are necessarily good drivers. But it's a good start. And so in today's video, I am counting down the 9 unwritten RV park rules that everyone should know. Let's break it down. Number 9, don't let your laundry sit forever tying up the machines. So before I hit the road RVing, I don't think I realized as a full-timer how much the laundromat situation is a part of your everyday experience. Now, there are some people who have washing machines in their RVs, washers and dryers. Typically, this is larger RVs if present, things like Class A buses and fifth wheels, your bigger RVs that have bigger gray tanks and more electric capacity. We were full-timing in a Class C, so we had a 30 amp rig. And honestly, a lot of people who have the larger rigs don't have a washer and dryer because they find that it's simply not practical. They can only use it if they're on hookups anyway, which means that they're at the RV park with a laundromat. Plus, these machines tend to be more expensive than your home model. Like, they're specialized. There's not as much of a used market for them either, like the scratch and dent where you can get a good deal on your washer and dryer. I've done that a bunch of times in sticks and bricks. So a lot of times it just makes more sense to deal with laundromats. Now, the nice thing about RV parks is that the laundromat is at your home park. You're not driving out to the city somewhere and hanging out with quarters in the laundromat. I found that it was pretty easy just to go and start my laundry and then come and switch my laundry over. And in between, I wouldn't necessarily even sit in the laundromat. I'd go hang out in my rig or do stuff around the park. I could go work. Occasionally, I would stay in the laundromat. Like if it was a big laundromat and it was dead, I might bring, my laptop. I could even work there, depending on how close I was. I could even use my own connection. A few times when I was staying right next to the laundromat, my wireless from my RV. That was pretty cool. And additionally, some RV parks will have apps you can use on your phone, which means you don't need to use quarters, and it will send you notifications on your phone to tell you when your laundry's up. I mentioned the timer and I mentioned the app thing because there are people that will wash their clothes at RV parks and they will leave it there for hours, if not all day. And it's really rude. It's also not a great idea because I have seen where people will come in, there'll be laundry that's been sitting there forever. And I don't advocate for this. This is probably rude as well, but I have actually seen people get frustrated when there are no open washing machines and they need to do their laundry. They will take the wet clothes out and put it on top of the machine or put it over in the lost and found. So you have some stranger touching your wet clothes, which isn't great, right? And putting it in common areas, and then are they going to get dirty again from those things? So, you might have to rewash your clothes. It's a hassle. Also, if people are pulling out your clothes and doing that, they might leave a sock or two or a dish towel in the machine, and then it's in their stuff. And because of this, they end up stealing from you. So it's this whole mess. If you are doing your laundry in an RV park, keep an eye on it. Don't let it sit forever. It's rude. And it's also an unnecessary risk. So that's the first one. Number 8, don't put your sewer hose on the picnic table. Holy cow. So I get it. Travel days can be really annoying. Let's say you've been at a site for a while, you're packing up. You want a place to kind of stage things. You want to have a place to put your sewer hose. You see this bit of furniture right there. It's the right height. What's the harm? Well, the harm is that it's a picnic table. For all you know, the next person who comes into your site might sit there and eat. They might have small kids, and they'll have there with your nasty sewery hose with E. coli and junk on it. So there's this general bit of advice that if you're going to eat on the picnic table, that maybe you should be safe and have a tablecloth that you put on. I've seen a lot of nice washable plastic tablecloths that people have used. That's one way around it, and I get that, and I get that. But just don't put your sewer hose on the picnic table too. That's so gross. That's so rude. Yuck. And I have seen this. It's disgusting. I've been what are you doing? Yuck. Ugh. Selfish. Gross. Number 7, don't park in unoccupied campsites. I get it. You're coming in, you've had a long day of the road, you pull into your campsite, you see this empty spot next to you. You don't feel like parallel parking in front of your campsite, even though that's where you're supposed to park, or using visitor parking for your extra vehicles. I get it, I get it. You see this empty campsite next to you, it's like, oh, that's a parking spot, I'll just park there. Here's the thing, you don't know who's gonna show up. And sometimes people can be coming and have paid for the RV site next to you. They can be coming from hours and hours away, getting into the campsite at 10 p.m., midnight, middle of the night, and now you're in their spot. They could hit your car, actually, you know, in a low light situation, or you're getting knocked on the door. Like, what are you doing in the middle of the night because you're selfish, fill in the blank, parked in their campsite? It's like the last thing, even if it's not the middle of the night, that's the last thing that somebody who's paid for a campsite after a long travel day wants to see is somebody in their space. This is extra bad if you aren't actually at your site. If you've left, you know, like if you've gone out sightseeing, you're parking in somebody's campsite and the truck's there. This actually didn't happen to us, but I have seen it with other neighbors on the road where somebody has done that. We had people like partying in our site one time. They weren't parked there, but they were all over a picnic table, and they're like, oh, somebody's using this site, and they left, and they looked all put out, which was rude, you know, that's whatever, but at least they left. But I have seen other situations where people have done this, and then people haven't been able to get in, and big screaming fights. You don't want that, you don't want that, it's rude, don't do it. It's against the rules. You can get in trouble with the RV park office too. Number 6, keep your parked vehicles off the road. So on a similar note, this is another parking faux pas. I have seen people park their cars like out in the road, and especially in a way that makes it so bigger rigs have a hard time maneuvering. This is so bad. Don't do that. Again, you're blocking people's access to their own sites. Now, it's actually extra foolish too, because if you do that, if you have your car hanging out in the road where big rigs are trying to get through, you are risking being hit by those vehicles. And like, you don't want that. You don't want your vehicle to be hit by other cars. Like, it's expensive to get things repaired. It's also really inconvenient if you're on the road somewhere, if you're traveling full time. So don't do it. It's rude and it's an unnecessary risk. Number 5, don't walk through other people's campsites. Okay, so this is probably the biggest infraction that I see on a regular basis when I'm out there on the road camping. I get it. Sometimes cutting through a campsite can really save time as opposed to walking the long way around. And I'll tell you, some people will argue that you should never cut across campsites ever, whether they're empty or occupied. I take less of a hard line. I say if nobody's like camping there, if it's empty, if there's a couple empty, that's okay. But don't walk across somebody's campsite. If it's not your campsite, they are renting the space. That is effectively their space for the length of stay. I can't tell you how many times I'd be sitting there working on the couch, which is where I kind of worked when I was traveling full time, and I would just see some random person walking by my window, and it would scare the crap out of me, and it would make me so irritated. I'd be like, whoa, there's somebody there. Like, it's so annoying. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want it happening to you. Most RV parks have this rule and they advertise it. And I sort of get it if it's like a kid or somebody who doesn't know better, but full-grown adults. And I've even seen it with people who are in really good shape that look like joggers and stuff. It's not like these people are unable to walk a little bit further around. It's just annoying. It's just lazy. It's rude. You don't like it, don't do it to other people. Number 4, more black tank stuff. Don't empty your black tank when your neighbors are eating. Again, if you're out there and you see your neighbors are picnicking and you really want to dump your tanks, maybe wait till they're done eating. I get it, you gotta dump your tanks, I understand. Just be kind, wait a few minutes. So for the most part, most of the time, if you've got a decent setup, if everything's sealed up pretty well, the black tank emptying doesn't smell that much, but why risk it, right? Just wait till people are done eating. Like, just wait a little bit. It's pretty rude, it's pretty aggro. It's not as bad as the sewer hose on the picnic table, in my opinion, but be kind. Number 3, no stereo late at night. Now, this is actually sometimes a written rule. A lot of RV parks have quiet hours. In general, people say, after 10 p.m., don't be blasting your stereo or watching loud things on the TV outside. I get it. A lot of people in RV parks are in vacation mode, but a lot of people actually live in RV parks and they have to work and get up. And honestly, when people are camping, a lot of times they go with the day and night cycle anyway, organically. So even if they don't have to get up early. A lot of people like to do that. So usually in RV parks, there will be a quiet hours kind of guideline. Follow that. But if there isn't one, you know, between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., try to be quiet. Don't be bopping and making noise and blasting stereos and stuff. Like, honestly, odds are bad people like your music, you're probably being annoying, to be honest. Like, headphones are a thing for a reason, too. Like, headphones are not expensive. Like, come on. Number 2, turn off your bright outside lights at night. This is really controversial. Sometimes people get mad at me for saying this, but a fair number of RV parks are in dark sky locations. We went to one that was near Big Bend there's some good stargazing. It can be really nice, but you can't experience that if somebody has their weird rainbow light show. I know some people have paid a lot for rainbow light shows on their rigs and they want to show off. And I get that. I'm happy for you, but your neighbors probably aren't as excited about that. If it is quiet time for the noise, you should probably keep quiet time for your lights. Our RV has kind of an underlit feature that's very subtle that we will use as kind of an outdoor light for when we're coming home late after dark. Do something like that that kind of shines towards the ground rather than like blasting lights. It's annoying. And finally, number 1, pick up your dog and keep them on a leash. I wish this didn't have to be said. So I've done a video. We actually had a dog attack our cat on the road. I talked about that in a different video. This was a very naughty dog. If your dog is really good, you should have him on a leash because there are places that are coyote country. We saw situations where people were letting their dogs run around in coyote country. It wasn't safe. And we've witnessed 2 perfectly good dogs that could be off leash get into fights at other parks. That's one thing. The other thing is simply picking up your dog's excrement. I tell you, I don't have a dog. I haven't had a dog for many years. We had one growing up. I picked up so much dog poo in the 2 years that we lived on the road. Like, it was incredible. We were talking about people walking across sites. What was really particularly galling is when people would walk their dog across my site, let the dog poo in my yard, and then not pick it up. That happened. We had one memorable time when we had gone to Yellowstone, actually. We stayed at a nice RV park in Cody, Wyoming when we went to Yellowstone, and we were coming at the end of a long travel day, and Justin literally stepped into a steaming pile of dog stuff. At the end of a very tough travel day through Mountain Pass, it was pretty horrific. I was there wiping it off with Lysol wipes and trying to get everything, clean his shoes so he didn't spread it all over our campsite and in the rig, and I was picking it up and doing my glove thing. And it was just another level of nonsense that could have been avoided. So this is true in general. If you're in everyday life, if you walk your dog outside in spaces that are shared with people, you need to pick up your dog poo. You need to bring stuff with you. It's really not hard. I tell you it's not hard because I pick up other people's dog do. This is how I know it's not that hard. But yeah, even if it's an unoccupied lot like that situation, you never know who's going to pull in. It can really ruin somebody's day. It's very antisocial and it's very rude and no excuse for it. No excuse. And I've noticed some of the RV parks are actually starting to fine people when they get caught for that because it is such a problem. There's so many people doing that. So sometimes it's a written rule as well. Those are my 9. Do you have any as well? Drop them in the comments. Anyway, it's been great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.